February 25th, 2021, Miamisburg School Board meeting. And let's stand for the pledge to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So Mrs. Hageman, would you do the roll call, please?
Mrs. Angel?
Here.
Mrs. Neese?
Here.
Mr. Lewis?
Here.
Mr. Toadvine?
Here.
Dr. Blessing? Present. I'm present. Mr. Homan?
Here.
Next, we have the adoption of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
I move that we adopt the agenda.
Second.
Okay, first by Toadvine, second by Lewis. Any questions?
Nope.
Next, we have the approval of,
Got to do the roll call, Ann.
Roll
oh,
call.
roll call. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Okay, roll call.
Mrs. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Toadvine?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Mrs. Neese?
Yes. Next, we have the approval of minutes. Do I have a motion?
I move we approve the minutes of the February 25th board meeting.
I'll second.
No, wait.
Wait, I need to do the recommended action. Yeah, the approval of minutes for the regular board meeting held on January 21st, 2021, and the special board meeting held on February 10th, 2021.
Right. And I make a motion we approve those meetings of January 21st and February 10th.
And I'll second.
Okay. So first by Angel and second by Lewis. And then roll call.
Mr. Toadvine?
Yes.
Mrs. Neese?
Yes.
Mrs. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Okay, next we have the approval of the financial report dated January 31st, 2021. Do I have a motion?
I'll move for the approval of financial report, January 31, 2021.
Second.
Okay, first by Lewis, second by Angel. And then Mrs. Hageman, do you want to talk about that?
Sure. We do have some significant variances for the month through January, but I think it's mostly a timing issue, so we'll see those 2% and 3% variances between what we budgeted and what we're actually spending sort of clear up as the year goes along, and if not, we'll make adjustments accordingly. But it's in a good way. We're collecting more revenue than we expected, just a tad bit more, and we're spending less than we expected, so that's always a good movement in both areas. So as far as surprises go, that's a good one for me, so I'm happy with that. But unless anybody has any questions about the investment report, the permanent improvement report, or the financial reports, that's all I have.
Are real estate taxes coming in pretty much on time?
Yeah, we did get an unanticipated extra payment of $312,000 in like December. So until I get the final settlement, I'm not sure if that's a delinquent payment from last, when everything was due in November, because they had extended the payment deadline, or if that was an early payment for these payments that are coming up. So yeah, it looks better now. The delinquents, I'm hoping that was a delinquent payment and it clears up some of our delinquency. But yes, we have had 2 deposits so far from last month and this month for taxes. So it's looking pretty good so far.
Thank you.
So roll call.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Mrs. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Toadvine?
Yes.
Mrs. Neese?
Yes.
Thank you.
Next, we have the recognition of citizens, staff, and students. And today we have the recognition of our Student of the Month from Kinder Elementary School, Jeremiah Geiger. So Mr. Tovine is going to read all the cool things about Jeremiah that his teacher wrote.
Hey, Jeremiah, I'm going to ask that you come up here and stand up in front here with us. Is that okay?
No, over here. Tell him over here.
Over here, hon. That's good. You can take my seat if you want to, Jeremiah.
He just followed orders.
You know what these are called? Those are called cheaters for old men. Someday, son, someday you'll get there. I want to read about you, okay? The Miamisburg City School District January Student of the Month is Kinder Elementary School second grade student Jeremiah Geiger. Is that pronounced right? Thank you. He was nominated by his teacher, Michelle Carroll. Mrs. Carroll said, "I would like to nominate Jeremiah Geiger for this honor for many reasons. Jeremiah is new to Kinder this year. However, he has quickly made new friends and has adapted to our way of doing things. He was very quick to learn and understand PACS, building assets, and what PACS leaders looks like. On most days, he can be found walking the halls quietly, reminding others what PACS leaders looks like, and working hard in the classroom. Over remote learning, Jeremiah showed a ton of perseverance. He spent most of it, by the way, do you know what perseverance means before I go on? No? It means that you're tough, okay? It means you tried hard and you just kept after it and you did what you were supposed to, okay? He doesn't do that. He spent most of the days logging in at daycare and in a setting that was noisy and very busy. He pushed through and always had his work completed and participated in our daily meets. He would ask the adults in charge if he could move to a quieter location if it was too distracting, and wasn't afraid to call them over to assist him or talk to me if he had a question about an assignment. That's very good, because you know what? Someday if you're in chemistry class and you don't know what you're doing and you do something you don't ask, you might blow somebody up, you know? It's kind of important, isn't it? That's good. That's a good job.
Stick to the script.
Yeah. During remote learning, there came a time when he had to stay home due to sickness. However, this did not stop him from logging in every day and working hard to complete the work that was assigned. He never took the easy way out, and he persevered through this challenging time. Jeremiah's mother states that outside of school, he loves to play basketball and football. He enjoys spending time with his friends and making new ones. At home, he loves to clean and help around the house. Way to go, Jeremiah. I'm so proud of all you have accomplished this year, and what a wonderful addition you have been to Kinder School. Congratulations. That's you did a lot, buddy, you know it? And you know what, if it wasn't for COVID, I'd shake your hand right now. All right?
We would like to present you with the Student of the Month medallion from the Board of Education. So that is for you. Thank you. You're very welcome. You want to do a fist bump or a? There we go. Yeah, and so do you have a favorite basketball team or football team that you like to watch? Yeah, like she's there too. I was a little disappointed about the Super Bowl. What about you? Okay. Maybe next year, right? Well, congratulations. You're very welcome.
Congratulations, Jeremiah.
Thanks,
Actually,
Jeremiah.
I need some cleaning at my house. Would you want to visit?
Hey, Jeremiah, if you want to, you can leave, because we're not going to torture you and make you sit in here through all this, okay?
He said sure.
Congratulations, and thanks for coming.
Mrs. Hinder will tweet your picture out, so.
Yes, thank you.
And congratulations to you, Mr. and Mrs. Geiger, for having such a
Yes.
wonderful child.
For sure. Okay. Next, we have the recognition of appreciation for retirees. It is recommended that the Board of Education adopt resolutions of appreciation for the following employees: Maurice Comley and Stephanie Parker. Do I have a motion?
I'll move for the recognition of citizen,
Recognition
I'm
of
sorry,
appreciation.
recognition of appreciation for retirees.
I second.
Got to turn the page.
First by Lewis and second by Toadvine. And the first one is for Maurice Comley. The resolution of appreciation, whereas Maurice Comley has rendered 14 years service to the students of Miamisburg City Schools, and whereas Maurice Comley's performance, conduct, and sincerity in carrying out her duty has exemplified the highest level of achievement, and whereas Maurice Comley has distinguished herself as an EMIS coordinator, secretary. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Miamisburg City Board of Education pass this resolution as a token of its appreciation for her outstanding conduct, and that such resolution become part of the permanent minutes of said Board of Education. Do we have a video or not? Not this time? Okay. All right. And then our next one is Stephanie Parker. The resolution of appreciation. Whereas Stephanie Parker has rendered 23 years service to the students of Miamisburg City Schools, and whereas Stephanie Parker's performance, conduct, and sincerity in carrying out her duty has exemplified the highest level of achievement, and whereas Stephanie Parker has distinguished herself as a lunchroom employee and nutrition account secretary. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Miamisburg City Board of Education pass this resolution as a token of its appreciation for her outstanding conduct, and that such resolution become part of the permanent minutes of said Board of Education. So congratulations to Maurice and Stephanie, and thank you for all of your years of service. Much appreciated.
Yep, second that.
Ready
Roll
for
call? Yeah. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Neese,
Yes.
Mr. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. Toadvine,
Yes.
Mrs. Angel.
Yes.
All right, next on our agenda is board discussion, and today we have a curriculum update by our elementary curriculum employee, Amy Dobson. So she's going to talk about kindergarten registration and more.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah.
It's nice to see everybody in person here. Now it's on? Yeah. So, as Mrs. Neese referenced, I'm going to talk to you about kindergarten registration as well as preschool to kindergarten transition. It is the season for us to begin planning for next year, and I am pleased to share with you that earlier this week we were able to launch online kindergarten registration. That has been an initiative that the Student Services Department has been working on, and we're pleased that we are able to move forward with that from an efficiency standpoint. And so one of the things that we have also done in this process is to create a kindergarten readiness page linked to the district website. So Mr. Homan has that pulled up on the screen. I just would like to point the community to that site because it outlines who is eligible for kindergarten and all of the details associated with registering. It also takes families directly to the link to create their account and to begin the registration process online. So as a reminder, children need to be 5 years old by August 1st to be able to register for kindergarten. And I also want to point out to families that there will be an appointment that will be required as a part of this process. That's where families will need to come in and have some documentation like birth certificate and things like that verified. But it'll be much more efficient, and those are going to be by appointment and hopefully at parents' convenience to come into central office to finalize that process. I also wanted to point out, Mr. Holman, if you'll go over to the Skills for Kindergarten tab. This is also a resource for parents that outlines some skills that parents can take into consideration as they're thinking about their child transitioning to kindergarten. And it outlines some skills that parents can be thinking about and considering when they're working with their child from home. It also outlines some ideas toward the bottom of the page in terms of things that parents can do while they're reading with their children. But as he's scrolling through, you can see that there are a number of focus skills for kindergarten readiness that are here on this site. And down at the bottom, there's a reference to skills for and some tips for reading with your child. And just a reminder of the importance of that time with your children leading up to school. So the other piece that I want to mention is, while this is a good resource for parents, when our children are enrolled and when families come for that final appointment, they'll be provided with a kindergarten readiness kit that is full of manipulatives and tools that children can use. There are linking cubes and dice, dry erase boards and markers and things like that, and activities linked to those resources so that children can use those in preparation. So we encourage families to register as soon as possible so they can get their hands on that kit and begin that process of engaging in some of those activities for their children. So we are looking forward to our new group of youngest learners coming into the district, and we hope that our families will begin registering now for kindergarten for the 21-22 school year. Any questions that you have for me regarding kindergarten registration?
How are we getting this information out to parents?
This has been posted on the district website, which is also tweeted out from the district level. Our building principals have also forwarded this out to through their channels to their families. I've also included Head Start. We have a Head Start program site in the district, and so Head Start has already, I along with some of our principals were on a parent information Zoom with them yesterday afternoon and promoted kindergarten registration with them. And then I maintain a email group with all of the local preschool providers in the community, and I've shared this information with them as well so that they can forward that out to their families.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other kindergarten registration specific questions before I transition into the Heading to Kindergarten project? So preschool to kindergarten transition is a big time in the lives of children, and the state of Ohio has recognized the importance of having research-based strategies as a part of the transition activities. And so they have initiated a Heading to Kindergarten project in the state of Ohio. We are fortunate that we were one of 16 districts in the state of Ohio to be selected to be a part of the Heading to Kindergarten project with our local partner here, Head Start. The focus is, it's really based on a national initiative to build partnerships between Head Start and local school districts. And really, they're promoting best practice, encouraging collaboration, providing resources and professional development. And so here locally, what we envision is working in a small group with our Head Start partners so that we can implement some of these best practices that can be expanded for multiple providers here in our community. So we have a project team that is made up of staff members from Miamisburg City Schools. Kelly Lee Marker and Lindsay Escobar are actually a part of this project here. They have been a building that, in our 2 years so far of implementation, have transitioned a number of Head Start students into their building, so they were eager to be a part of this. We also have a case manager, the early childhood coordinator, and a lead teacher from Head Start who's a part of the project, as well as a representative from the state support team. So we've got a nice local project team, which we have named ourselves the Miamisburg STARS, and that is an acronym for Striving, Transitioning, and Reaching for Success. So that's really kind of our mantra. And I have included for you in your board packet some information that includes the charter for this project, that outlines the purpose to really build an awareness for the importance of early childhood education. And then I've also provided for you the work plan for the STARS local project team. And that was based on a needs assessment. It's a work in progress. You'll see that we have some lofty aspirations there in that plan. But over the next 12 to 18 months, we'll get support through the state and professional development to work to accomplish those goals. And then, our goal, as I mentioned, then would be to be able to take those things that work well for us and expand those with other preschool providers as well. So it's an exciting opportunity to be a part of.
Any questions? It sounds very nice. And have they always been given that kit, or is that for at registration?
We have been doing that, I think, for about the last 5 years. It started with a kindergarten readiness grant through Learn to Earn Dayton, and while those grants have gone away, we have been intentional to carve out some resources out of our curriculum budget to be able to continue those because of the value for that community input, the family and community input as kids are transitioning. So,
Okay. Thank you, Amy.
Yeah, thanks,
you're
Amy.
welcome.
Thank you.
Next, we'll move on to the consent agenda. An appointment of a board designee to attend public records training. The board shall appoint Tina K. Hagman, Treasurer, CFO, and Scott Gilbert, Director of Business, as an alternate to attend public records training required for board members by applicable law, namely Revised Code 109.43. And then the next thing on the consent agenda is approval of class of 2021 early graduates. Michael Black, principal of Miamisburg High School, has recommended Christian Jackson for early graduation pending satisfactory completion of all state and local requirements. And C, approval of tuition-free senior enrollment. It is recommended by the superintendent and high school principal that the Board of Education approves Harmony Lane for tuition-free enrollment for her senior year. This permission is only granted to a 12th grade student who previously attended Miamisburg High School as a resident pupil during their 11th grade year. And D, approval of the Memorandum of Understanding between the Miamisburg City School District and Teamsters Union number 957. The superintendent and treasurer CFO recommend that the Board of Education approve the attached Memorandum of Understanding with the Teamsters Union number 957. And then E, we're just going to discuss all of them at the end, is that right? Okay. E, approval of Memorandum of Understanding between the Miamisburg City School District and the Miamisburg Classroom Teachers Association. The superintendent and treasurer, CFO, recommend that the Board of Education approve the attached Memorandum of Understanding with the Miamisburg Classroom Teachers Association. And then on to F, the approval of the Memorandum of Understanding between the Miamisburg City School District and the Miamisburg Classroom Teachers Association. the superintendent and treasurer, CFO, recommend that the Board of Education approve the attached memorandum of understanding with the Miamisburg Classroom Teachers Association. So, Mr. Hellman, will you be talking mostly
We
about
need a motion.
that, or, okay, oh, do I have a motion?
I move we approve items A through F on the consent agenda.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, first by Angel, second by Lewis. And then, Mr. Hellman, were you going to discuss the MOUs, or?
Well, I can talk about letter A for a moment.
Okay.
I know Mr. Lewis had a question about that earlier. Every year, or every other year, the board has to attend public records training. Now, you can do that online for 3 hours. If you want to do that, you are certainly welcome to do that. But typically what's done is I've been named the designee, and I get to sit in class for 3 hours on your behalf. Now, I'm not going to take that wonderful privilege away from you if you want to continue doing it. But for those that don't, I will continue to sit in for you because you have to have that training at least once every other year. So I typically go in April when they have their used to have our big conferences. With COVID, it's all virtual. And I do that in even years, and Scott will do it in odd years so that we catch anything that happens that we're not aware of initially. So that's why we have you appoint a designee, just in case any of you can't make it. So we're there for you in your place.
And typically, they're the ones that have to answer a public records request.
Right.
They typically do not come to the board itself. It comes to
It's
central
odd,
office.
but the revised code requires that you do it. But
Hey,
you
and
do
I
the
did it last
training,
year.
But
It
you
was
don't answer the public
long.
records request, so, yeah, that's why it's best to have a designee. So,
It was interesting, though. It was long, but
it was
I
long.
think you did it too, Tim, right? Yeah. 13
Yes,
videos.
I did.
Yeah.
When they
I
first
wouldn't
did
use
it,
that to describe it, but yes.
Yeah.
I'm starting to show my age. When they first did public records training, if you weren't there on time, when you got there, you got locked in the room and you couldn't leave. And they only gave you a certain amount of time. You had like 300 people in a room and a certain amount of time to go to the bathroom and come back. It was just ridiculous. So they're a little more lax than they used to be. So,
Good.
and then, do you want to take
Mr.
item
Hellman,
D?
did you want to,
Sure.
talk about the
I can just hit all of them real
memorandums?
quick if you want me to.
Oh, go right ahead.
So there are 3 MOUs on here. Letter D, the first one with the Teamsters, is going back to the spring with the COVID and kind of wrapping all those things up with payroll and everything to kind of wrap up the spring stuff with all that with payments. Letter E deals with our teachers that are teaching online through the PLP curriculum to be able to be evaluated in a different tool. So because they're not with the students the whole 50% of the time in the classroom, then O-test does not apply to them, but we wanted them to still have some type of evaluation tool. So it is a checklist that they do, and obviously all of you know our PLP teachers, they're working really hard this year on a lot of students to get through that curriculum. So,
Steve, how many teachers do we have doing that?
Amy, how many do we have now doing PLP?
I don't mean to throw you on the spot.
No, because as people have been in and out and more kids are coming back into the building, I'm going to say,
Let me get back to you on that.
Don't worry about it.
I think we have 7 to 10, and that would include intervention specialists at the middle school.
I was going to say probably close to 18 total.
Yeah, I think that we're probably between 15 and 20.
Yeah. And then, of course, as students have come back, then some of those teachers have actually gone back into the classroom, so.
Right.
Yeah, we looked pretty intentionally at this semester when there was a transition, and we gave families the option to make a change. We did some analysis at that point.
Yeah.
And then the other MOU for MCTA deals with retire, rehire, and teacher want to be able to talk with the board about it. And then also, that's also, as we get later on with the retirement incentive, it's kind of tied into that too as well. So we wanted to be fair to all this, since we're introducing, and Tina will explain the retirement incentive, to be able to make sure all those things were out there, and then give teachers an opportunity who would want to take a look at retiree hire as well, to have all the options on the table first. So we just want to be fair to all the employees. So.
Any questions? Roll call?
Mrs. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Toadvine?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Mrs. Dees?
Yes. Okay, next we'll move on to the Human Resources agenda items. Approval of resolution for the personnel classified and extracurricular employment. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the following resolution. Whereas the following extracurricular positions have been offered to those employees of the district who are licensed individuals, and no such employee qualified to fill the position have accepted it. And whereas the school district has then advertised the position as available to any licensed individual who is qualified to fill it and who is not employed by the board, and no such person has applied for and accepted the position. Now therefore be it resolved that under the provisions of Ohio Revised Code 3313.53, the following positions are declared available to non-certificated persons who meet standards adopted by the state board, and may be filled for a period of not more than 1 school year at the same salary wage offered to certificated persons for the People Activity Program as indicated. 9th grade girls basketball coach, $3,293. Baseball, Miamisburg Middle School coach, $1,738. Baseball varsity assistant coach, split, $2,117. Baseball varsity assistant coach, split, $1,749. Baseball JV B 9th grade coach, $3,486. Lacrosse boys varsity assistant, $3,947. Lacrosse boys JV coach, $1,973. Lacrosse boys head coach, $5,572. Lacrosse boys JV coach split, $1,973. Lacrosse girls head coach, $5,775. Lacrosse girls JV coach split, $1,847. Lacrosse girls JV coach split, $1,973. Softball head coach, $5,216. Softball varsity assistant coach split, $1,847. Softball JV coach split, $1,749. Did I just mess up? Softball varsity assistant coach split, $1,749. Softball JV coach split, $1,847. Softball Miamisburg Middle School coach, $1,738. Softball Miamisburg Middle School coach, $1,738. Strength coach spring, $1,664. Strength coach summer, $1,664. Tennis boys Miamisburg Middle School coach, $1,738. Track girls Miamisburg Middle School assistant coach, $2,470. Track varsity assistant coach, $4,234. Track varsity assistant coach, $3,695. Track varsity assistant coach, $3,216. Track boys Miamisburg Middle School assistant coach, $2,608. Track boys, Miamisburg Middle School assistant coach, $2,470. Track girls, Miamisburg Middle School assistant coach, $2,697. Do I have a motion?
I'll move for the approval of resolution, personnel, classified, extracurricular employment.
Second.
First by Lewis, second by Toadvine. Any discussion? Anything? Roll call?
Mr. Lewis,
Yes.
Mrs. Angel,
Yes.
Mr. Toadvine,
Yes.
Mrs. Neese.
Yes. Okay, next we'll move to the approval of personnel reports, certificated and classified. Employment it is recommended that the Board of Education approve the following personnel reports. Employment in the Miamisburg City School District is contingent upon the candidate submitting to and passing a BCII and FBI criminal record check in accordance with Ohio Revised Code and pre-employment drug screening in accordance with adopted board policies. Do I have a motion?
I move for approval of personnel reports, certificated and classified.
I'll second.
Okay, first by Angel, second by Lewis. Any questions, discussion? Okay, roll call?
Mr. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. Toadvine,
Yes.
Mrs. Neese,
Yes.
Mrs. Angel.
Yes.
Okay, next we'll move on to approval of personnel report, supplemental stipend for certificated and classified. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the following personnel report, supplemental stipend, certificated, classified. Employment in the Miamisburg City School District is contingent upon the candidate submitting to and passing a BCII and FBI criminal record check in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code and pre-employment drug screening in accordance with adopted board policies. Do I have a motion?
I move for the approval of the personnel report, supplemental stipend, certificated and classified.
Second.
Okay, first by Toadvine and second by Lewis. Any discussion? Okay, roll call?
Mrs. Angel,
Yes.
Mr. Toadvine,
Yes.
Mr. Lewis,
Yes.
Mrs. Neese.
Yes. Okay, next we'll move on to D, the approval revision of a job description. And that is the educator on assignment in our psychology services. And do I have a motion?
I move we approve the revision of the job description, educator on assignment, the psychology services.
Second.
Okay, first by Angel and second by Toadvine. And were you going to talk about that, Dr. Blessing? Or?
Sure.
Okay.
Mrs. Lucas presented a draft of that job description, kind of a new role. We've had a couple of our school psychologists either leave or retire. So instead of replacing with school psychologists, we are going to do school diagnosticians, but the correct teacher on assignment. And they will be assisting our school psychologists, and we're hoping to just have an internal applicants apply and be able to kind of shift some roles of some intervention specialists or special ed teachers to teacher on assignment.
Any questions?
I'm excited about this change. I think it'll be good for the district, so.
Definitely.
Okay, roll call?
Mrs. Neese,
Yes.
Mrs. Angel,
Yes.
Mr. Toadvine,
Yes.
Mr. Lewis.
Yes.
Okay, next we'll move on to agreements and contracts. Approval of the Memorandum of Understanding with Sinclair Community College. It is recommended by the Superintendent and Director of Secondary Curriculum to enter into an agreement with Sinclair Community College. This agreement is entered into between Sinclair Community College and Miamisburg City School District. The purpose of this agreement is to set forth the general terms under which Sinclair will provide college-level courses to students of the district under Ohio's College Credit Plus program. All terms of this agreement shall be interpreted to be consistent with the provisions of Ohio Revised Code Chapter 3365.07 and or Ohio Administrative Code Section 3333-1-65.6. Do I have a motion?
I'll move for the approval of Memorandum of Understanding with Sinclair Community College.
Second.
First by Lewis and second by Toadvine, and I think Dr. Blessing was going to maybe talk a little bit about this.
Sure. This is something we do every year. A lot of our students at the high school take advantage of the ability to earn college credits while still in high school. Mrs. Moore, I think, shared with you a few days ago some of the College Credit Plus courses that our students can take while they're at the high school. Biology courses, software applications, English courses, U.S. history, college algebra, trigonometry, and the American federal government. Also, she shared with you just kind of the amount of students that enroll in the CCP courses and the credit hours that they've earned while at Miamisburg High School. And in 1920, we had 245 students that took advantage of that enrollment. And in 2019, 2020, we had 22,150 credit hours earned. So definitely a great partnership and great way for the students to springboard into their post-secondary.
Yeah, I wish they had that around when my kids were in school. That's for sure. That would have saved some tuition. But, all right, do roll call.
Mr. Toadvine?
Yes.
Mrs. Neese?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Mrs. Angel?
Yes.
Okay, next we'll move on to the financial agenda items. It is recommended by the superintendent and treasurer that the Board of Education accepts the fiscal year 2020 Auditors Report. This single audit report covers the period of July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2020. A copy of the full report is available in the treasurer's office. Do I have a motion?
I move we accept the official fiscal year 2020 Auditor's Report.
Second.
Okay. First by Angel, second by Toadvine.
Give it to the old man.
Luto. Give to Luto.
Did you want to talk about that, Mrs.
No, I'm
Hegman?
just, yes, I guess I'm happy to report there were no findings for recovery. We had a perfect audit, and so I'm pretty proud of our team. We've been working very hard to continue that, so it's always a little scary, especially when you have a year like fiscal year 20 with COVID and everybody leaving in March, but I was pretty proud, so.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, thank
Just
you.
Say thank you to your
Yeah.
team and to you, Tina, because it's awesome.
Okay, roll call?
Mr. Lewis,
Yes.
Mrs. Neese,
Yes.
Mr. Toadvine,
Yes.
Mrs. Angel.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll go on to B, authorization for the amendment to the Appropriations and Certificate of Estimated Resources. It is recommended by the Treasurer, CFO, that the Appropriations and Certificate of Estimated Resources be amended as listed in the attached reports. Do I have a motion?
I move we approve the authorization for amendment to the Appropriations and Certificate of Estimated Resources.
Second.
Okay, first by Toadvine, second by Lewis.
I'm happy to report that I'm asking you to approve the amended certificate because we have additional revenues coming in, so that's always a good thing. $998,000, And on the budget side, we did have to increase the budget a little bit, but only by 30,000. So we're still coming out ahead. And since we did make changes, we do have to provide that to the Montgomery County Auditor's Office. And I did provide the summary of where those changes were made. So unless you have any questions, that's where we stand.
I like those kind of changes.
Yes, I do too.
How much of the 900,000 is encumbered? Any of it encumbered already?
The 900,000, no, not all of it is encumbered. We had to increase in lieu of taxes because we do have some settlements that came in. And then Medicaid reimbursement, we've completed the audit and we've submitted everything we need to submit. We're just hopeful that we'll get that money in by June 30 since we've got it done early. So not all of it has been, no.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, roll call?
Mrs. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Amsler's not here. Mr. Toadvine?
Yes.
Mrs. Neese?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Okay, next we'll move on to the approval of the certificate of availability. The treasurer CFO recommends approval of the certificate of availability in the amount of $23,000 for Moody's Investors Service. Do I have a motion?
I'll move for the approval of certificate of availability.
Second.
Okay, first by Lewis and second by Toadvine. And did you want to talk about that, Mrs. Hageman?
As you know, we did a bond refunding December 22nd. Moody's has to give you your bond rating. And so they performed all their services on December 4th, but I didn't know what their services were going to cost until we did the closing, which was December 22nd. Their invoice says December 4th. My PO says December 22nd. Because the PO is dated after the invoice, I need your approval to pay it. Moody's is aware, and but they provided the services earlier in the month, and I just wasn't aware of what their cost would be until the closing. So we just need your approval to get them paid. It's all a timing issue because I'm supposed to have that money encumbered before the invoice comes, but I didn't get the money until the 22nd, so I couldn't encumber what I didn't have. So.
Tell about our rating.
We're AA3, and then we had the backing of so we got from the ODE for our foundation payment, where they can use our foundation payment if we fail to pay, which will never happen as long as I'm in the seat. So we got upgraded to AA2. So we're doing really well.
Awesome.
Thank you. Proud of that.
And we couldn't have gotten our refunding without going through this process.
Correct. Yes, you have to have the rating done. Yes.
All right. Roll call?
Mrs. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Toadvine?
Yes.
Mrs. Neese?
Yes. Okay, next we'll move on to the approval of the proposed retirement incentive for the 2020-21 school year. The superintendent and treasurer, CFO, recommends that the Miamisburg Board of Education approve the proposed retirement incentive for the 2020-21 school year. Do I have a motion?
I move for the approval of the proposed retirement incentive for the 2021 school year.
Second.
Okay, first by Toadvine, second by Angel. And were you going to talk about this?
Sure. As we discussed in many work sessions, this is our retirement incentive. It's not an early incentive. We're not asking anybody to retire earlier than they would anticipate it. But it's you have an option of one, electing to participate in our retiree medical plan for a minimum of 2 years, possibly 4, depending upon how much our premium cost is going to be, because we never know what happens with medical premium cost. But we are pretty confident we can guarantee 2 years at a minimum. or you can take a lump sum payment of $20,000. Now, the reason why it's structured this way is we are using our 035 termination account, so we're not using any general fund or operating money because we have a little bit of a surplus in there to make those payments for those individuals that want to take, use this as an opportunity. So we just need the board's approval. We have met with the MCTA leadership. We've met with the Teamster leadership. We've discussed it a little bit at Executive Leadership Council with the administrators. And so unless you have any questions for me.
The funds originally did come from the general fund, though,
Right,
right?
we do an annual transfer of about $300,000 to $350,000 each year to sort of reserve that money for when severance payments have to come out. And so we've got a little bit of a surplus there, so we're going to use that to offer this to our employees.
And for the general public out there listening, the reason we would do this, if we offer an incentive and we have a teacher with 30 years retire, or 35, and if we had to replace them, and perhaps we won't have to, but we would hire someone at a lower pay.
Correct.
Thus saving the district money.
Correct. As we've discussed, we've seen enrollment decline by almost 500 kids in the last 9 years. So this is a way to offer some opportunities for our teaching staff and others, because this is across the board, all staff, an opportunity to retire and do the things that they want to do. And if we can avoid replacing all those positions, we'll do our best. And if we need to replace some of them, which we know we will, at least one or two, we'll be able to find someone with less experience and be lower on the pay scale, new employees to Miamisburg. So it's one of those cost-saving options we've been discussing. Now, there is a limit of 12, which is 12 district-wide. If we get to a point where we think we could change that, I certainly would not be opposed to coming back to the board and asking them to make an amendment to that. But we wanted to limit that just so we could make sure that we didn't have too many people leaving and that we had the funds to cover it.
Well,
If necessary, could we move some funds into that pot of gold? If it looked like it was going to actually save us money by doing so, the board has the authority to have you do that?
Yes.
Okay.
The short answer is yes.
Well, thanks for explaining that, and thanks for pointing that out, Mrs. Angel, too, about how it saves us money. All right, roll call.
Mrs. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Toadvine?
Yes.
Mrs. Neese?
Yes. Okay, next we'll move on to the acceptance of donations. And it is recommended that the Board of Education accept the following list of donations. All monies will be used through each school's 018 account unless indicated otherwise. Do I have a motion?
I move that we accept the following donations.
Second.
So first by Toadvine and second by Angel. And these are the list of the donations. $25 from Carol Abner to the Miamisburg City School District for the Community Connections Program. $250 from Doug and Jessica Berry to the Miamisburg High School Wrestling Program in response to the Matching Funds Initiative in memory of Ryan Smith. $250 from Pam Berry to the MHS Wrestling Program in response to the Matching Funds Initiative in memory of Ryan Smith. $250 from the Hubbard family to the MHS Wrestling Program in response to the Matching Funds Initiative in memory of Ryan Smith. $100 from Donnie Lamb to the MHS Wrestling Program in response to the Matching Funds Initiative. Sand Pro Infield Grooming Machine value of $2,500 from the Miamisburg Baseball Dugout Club to the Miamisburg City School District. $250 from Scott and Ginger Masters to the MHS Wrestling Program in response to the Matching Funds Initiative in memory of Ryan Smith. $250 from Eric and Teresa Miller to the MHS Wrestling Program in response to the Matching Funds Initiative in memory of Ryan Smith. $100 from Jim Moore to the MHS Wrestling Program in response to the Matching Funds Initiative in memory of Jim O'Donnell. $250 from Brad and Julie Myers to the MHS Wrestling Program in response to the Matching Funds Initiative in memory of Ryan Smith. $500 from Brian and Carla Myers to the MHS Wrestling Program in response to the Matching Funds Initiative in memory of Ryan Smith. $300 from Kevin and Karen O'Donnell to the MHS Wrestling Program in response to the Matching Funds Initiative in memory of Jim O'Donnell. $400 from Rich and Kathy O'Donnell to the MHS Wrestling Program in response to the Matching Funds Initiative in memory of Jim O'Donnell. $300 from Steve O'Donnell to the MHS Wrestling Program in response to the Matching Funds Initiative in memory of Jim O'Donnell. $100 from Jason and Andrea Osborne to the MHS Wrestling Program in response to the Matching Funds Initiative in memory of Ryan Smith. $200 from Ron Osborne to the MHS Wrestling Program in response to the Matching Funds Initiative in memory of Ryan Smith. 2020 Quality Cargo Trailer, a value of $4,200 from the Miamisburg Visual Ensemble to the Miamisburg City School District to 2521. $500 from Dusty and Julie Rose to the MHS Wrestling Program in response to the Matching Funds Initiative in memory of Ryan Smith. $250 from Dawson, Devon, and Deaton Shade to the MHS Wrestling Program in response to the Matching Funds Initiative in memory of Ryan Smith. $250 from Donald and Sandy Shade to the MHS Wrestling Program in response to the Matching Funds Initiative in memory of Ryan Smith. $250 from Larry Sharp to the MHS Wrestling Program in response to the Matching Funds Initiative in memory of Ryan Smith. $100 from Roger and Diana Smith to the MHS Wrestling Program in response to the Matching Funds Initiative in memory of Ryan Smith. $792.50 from the Viking Booster Association to the Miamisburg City School District for the purchase of volleyball goalpost. $50 from Michael and Pam Varelli to the MHS Wrestling Program in response to the Matching Funds Initiative in memory of Jim O'Donnell. $350 from Michael and Lori Wance to the MHS Wrestling Program in response to the Matching Funds Initiative in memory of Jim O'Donnell. Mr. O'Donnell was a coach, the wrestling coach, correct?
Wrestling, football, and baseball.
Okay,
And math teacher at the high school.
okay. And I know Ryan Smith was a wrestler, correct?
Correct.
Yes. Roger and Diana's
Yeah,
son. Well, and
Very
I'm
nice.
sorry, that's really not totally correct. Because there's Diane Zinksmith too.
Okay, the following donations were made to the Miamisburg City Schools for the Campus Quest project. $100 from Anonymous in response to the Matching Funds Initiative. A $900 pledge through payroll deduction from Todd, Laura, Alexa, and Carly Blessing in response to the Matching Funds Initiative. $500 from Bob Cook in response to the Matching Funds Initiative. $1,000 from Tim and Becky Lewis in response to the Matching Funds Initiative. $50 from Eric Miller in response to the Matching Funds Initiative. $50 from Mike Schneider in response to the Matching Funds Initiative. $250 towards a pledge of $1,000 from Donald and Sandy Shade. $250 from Sue Schock in response to the Matching Funds Initiative. And I know I wanted to say thanks to the donor, who is anonymous, for all these matching funds. Anybody else have anything to say?
Does anybody have a total?
I believe we matched 20,000 for Campus Quest, so we will be getting another 20,000 from the anonymous donor. And then I think wrestling, it was up where, I think around 15,000. It might have even reached 20. But I think he was going to, the anonymous donor, he or she was going to give 40 total to the district. So I'm not sure where wrestling came in, but it was pretty high as well, in the 15,000 to 20,000 range.
Yeah. Yeah, he or she is a very good people.
Right, Jason reported $14,055 for the wrestling, and $25,945 for Campus Quest. So, I want to applaud his efforts as well as Brenda Hibbert, because they worked very hard on this. So, and everyone that made the donations so that we could get the matching from the anonymous donor. So yes, thank you to everyone that worked hard on that. So. I had to look up his email, Laura.
I remembered it was kind of in those,
It was
total
in the,
40.
you remembered
Yeah.
more than I did, yes. I'm like, I remember I have an email.
The roll call?
Mrs. Neese?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
I have to abstain due to my family making a donation.
Mrs. Agel?
Yes.
Mr. Toadvine?
I'm going to say yes, and I'd just like to add something I should have earlier. The Ryan Smith was a fabulous young man. He happened to be my daughter-in-law's brother, and he's greatly missed, and he would, if he was here, he would probably have some really wise comment to make, and he was a very fun-loving and just a great kid. And I can say that that Coach O'Donnell, he was my coach when I was in high school, and he was just a fabulous human being. And if we had more coaches like him, then there'd be and I'm not saying our coaches are bad. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that he was a fabulous human being is what I'm going to say about that. So, thanks.
And you can tell that by those who still remember him and Ryan Smith.
Yep.
Yeah.
He really cared about us as we were like his kids too, and he had a lot of kids himself, but we were right in there with him. And I was fortunate that when I was teaching, that I actually got to teach some of his kids and coach some of his kids, so it was pretty neat. I'll shut up.
Yeah, and you know, Brian, I know, leaves behind a wife and 2 young children, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So, that's for you. All right, roll call.
We did.
Oh, we already did it?
that.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's right, because Dale just added to it. That's right.
So I'll say
Okay.
yes.
So now we'll go to the reports, and we have the MVCTC news from Joe Isaacovich, and I think Dr. Blessing is going to read that, correct?
Correct. The following is an MVCTC report. COVID-19, our blended schedule continues. Enrollment, the applications for the class of 2023 continue to roll in. We have received 1,087 and are expected to receive more. Construction, work on the north and south wings continue. We have started moving into the south wing, ag areas, including retail, animal care, and veterinary locations. The heavy equipment and diesel areas are also in and operating. Everyone, students and staff, are super excited. Congratulations to our Miamisburg students to their accomplishments. Jessica Rooks, pre-nursing senior, is employed as an advanced placement student at Kingston of Miamisburg as an STNA. Congratulations. Our BPA students performed well at regionals and advanced to state competition. John Lee, first place, Java programming. Aiden Hawk, third place, Lynx operating system fundamentals. And Lacey Baker, first place, podcast production team. That's it for February. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. Thanks and stay healthy. Joe Isaacovich.
Thanks, Joe. And then we'll move on to Sharon Angel, the legislative liaison.
Okay, well, there's not a lot going on yet, but Governor DeWine did sign an executive order in January that implements budget reductions for fiscal year 21 that partially restored some of the cuts made to K-12 educators. I want to say partially because he took away,
968,000,
and we got back,
521.
okay, we got about half back. So,
I'm like, I know those numbers.
right. He also then put in place his executive budget, but it does not include a school funding formula. He's leaving that up to the legislatures. So the fair funding bill is still kind of in limbo, and I don't see it going anywhere before they put a new budget in place, but I hope I'm wrong about that. He also, in January, released the 4-week schedule for K-12 schools to receive the vaccine, and I'm happy to say our district is one of those that have already had their first dose and scheduled for the second dose. He also, in the legislature, they have introduced a new bill to change the school funding formula, so they're starting over again. So we don't know where that's going to go, but at least it is in the process. And also, President Biden announced the nomination of Miguel Cardona as Secretary of Education. This person has worked as an assistant superintendent, an administrator, a principal, and an elementary school teacher. And so we finally have somebody at the federal level that understands public schools. So I'm very happy about that. And that's basically pretty much, no, there's one more thing. Where is it? They've appointed the new chairs of the Education Committee. So these are people whose names we'll hear in the future. The chair is Andrew Brenner. He took the place of our retired senator from Dayton. I've forgotten her name.
Peggy Lehner?
Yes,
Lehner.
Peggy Lehner. I just had a...
You have COVID brain.
I can't say the word I'm thinking. And the vice chair is Louis Blessing, No relation to Dr. Laura Blessing. But those are two names to keep in mind for the future. And that's it.
And then, let's see, for the Student Achievement Liaison, Mr. Amsler's not here, so Mr. Tobine was going to read the rest of the other building students of the month.
I would be honored to, thank you. Bauer Elementary School student Jonah Edwards, Bear Elementary School Aubrey Lyric, Jane Chance Elementary School Lauren Kendall, Mark Twain Elementary School Student of the Month is Layla Martin, Medlar View Elementary School Student of the Month is Jaylyn Wade, Mound Elementary School Student of the Month is Ava Morath, Miamisburg Middle School Carabelle, and Miamisburg High School is Ethan Jasinski.
Thanks, Mr. Toadvine. And next we have our Montgomery County Drug Free Coalition Liaison, Tim Lewis.
Did not meet in February, and we'll meet again in March, so hopefully I'll have something in March.
And then next is our district news and information. And first we'll have the latest Making a Difference honorees are Rebecca Huber and Sarah Pelfrey. Becca, the Mound Elementary School principal, was nominated by Brittany Andrix. Kinder Elementary School teacher Sarah Pelfrey was nominated by Ginger Cagliana. Both ladies' nominations can be read at miamisburgcityschools.org. So congratulations to those two ladies. And then next we have Miamisburg High School seniors Cameron Clark, Brandon Homan, and Riley Russell were among 15,000 semifinalists who have met all requirements to advance to finalist standing in the 2021 National Merit Scholarship Program. So congratulations to those three students. That's quite an honor. Signing day saw 7 MHS athletes commit to further their academic and athletic careers at the next level. Aaron Bryant, University of the Cumberlands, NAIA lacrosse. Will Cook, University of Louisville, NCAA Division I baseball. Dylan Frymoyer, University of Northwestern Ohio, NAIA baseball. Alex Miller, Hanover College, NCAA Division III softball. Madeline Knoll, the College of Worcester, NCAA Division III lacrosse. Ethan Watkins, Clark State Community College, NJCAA baseball. And Emma Weiss, Eastern Michigan University, NCAA Division I rowing. So congratulations to all those athletes that were able to sign. Miamisburg High School sophomores Aubrey Garrison and Cassia Zamet both qualified to compete in the OHS WCA Girls State Wrestling Championships. Cassia finished the day as the champion of the 131-pound class and became Miamisburg's first ever girls 2-time state placer and state wrestling champion. Her road to the title was paved by pins in the first 2 rounds, and she picked up a 15-5 win in her semifinal match. Cassia rolled to dominate 12-1 victory in the finals. Congrats, Cassia. Wow. MHS bowler Devin Parker qualified for his first district bowling tournament with a series of 654. Also qualifying was Emmy Berger with an 8th place finish at the sectional tournament. Devin and Emmy overcame some tough conditions to make the great shots required to advance to the district bowling tournament. This is the second year in a row that Emmy has made it to the district tournament. And then congratulations to the MHS divers for a successful season. All 3 divers, Phoebe Hornack, who's the captain, Luke Gillespie, and Ellie Smith, made it to the sectional meet this year and competed against the toughest divers in the Southwest District. A special congrats to Luke Gillespie for making it to the district meet where he placed 21st. And then sophomore Anna Newkirk advances to the state meet next weekend by placing 6th at districts in the 100 breaststroke, 105.4. Good luck, Anna. Now we go around the table, or?
Sure. I'd just like to once again say thank you to everybody as far as the donations and everything that we received. It's just a fabulous demonstration of how our district supports our students. I'd like to thank the people that are out there in the trenches through all this COVID stuff, working their tails off and done double time on everything, whether it be the part-time people or the full-time people. Everybody's doing extra time, trying to just keep their heads above water and do all the right things that they're doing with their kids. And you know, I can have a testimony on that just from my 7 grandchildren that are still in the school district attending school, that they're being well served by everybody. So I think, just thanks everybody for that. And I think that kind of speaks volumes. I'll just let it go at that.
Well, I'd like to start off by thanking Amy Dobson, Marianne Lawson, Melissa Shade. Did I miss anyone that was involved in the online kindergarten registration?
Katie Lucas was also
Oh, and Katie Lucas for kicking this off, first year online kindergarten registration. Do want to remind everybody that preschool registration begins Monday. And a big thank you to Jason Osborne, Jason Shade, Reva Pittman, Brenda Hibbard for all their hard work and really reaching out and doing everything they could to make sure that we matched the anonymous donor for the Campus Quest and the wrestling. And everyone that donated, you know, thank you very much appreciated. So, you, Ann?
Yeah, just ditto about those donations. Thank you so much. And then I just wanted to say thanks to Dr. Blessing for her advocacy in bringing the vaccines to our district, and to Steve Holman for all the arranging he did for the signing up of the shots. And I know they were both there during all the vaccines, and it was just awesome. I noticed on the district dashboard now, it seems like our numbers have gone down since the vaccines, and I just want to continue to thank the staff for working so hard during COVID. It's just really appreciated on behalf of our students.
I'll just say ditto. I do want to thank our staff for going through the vaccinations, for coming back to school before they got it. We're one of the school districts that our students that want to be are back in class full time. That's something this board wanted to see happen. And central office, Dr. Blessing, you made it happen, along with all of the principals, all of the administrators, all the custodians, bus drivers. We can't thank all of you enough for making that happen, because our kids are where they're supposed to be, and they're safely. And so I just want to say thank you to Oh, and I just want to say congratulations to Cassie Zammit. I think that's an awesome thing that we have a state champion wrestler in our district. I wasn't even aware we had a girls wrestling team, so that is awesome for her. And also congratulations to all of the athletes, all of the musical people that have performed this year, because it has not been the normal year. And hopefully, I think the governor's coming out with some recommendations on how gatherings might happen in the next couple of months. So I think he's releasing those, if not today, in the next couple of days. So that will be good news. I'm done.
I want to ask the board to continue to support what was called the Cup-Patterson funding formula. We have not had a funding formula in place since 1819, and that one was not really a full formula. The Cup-Patterson, or it was House Bill 338 that made it out of the House last year, but died in the Senate. It didn't go anywhere. It's now House Bill 1. And so I'm hopeful, even if it isn't the Cup-Patterson initiative, some kind of formula-based funding, because it's really hard to go from year to year and not know how you're funded and how you're going to, we're 35 to 38% funded by the state. So if you can reach out and help us ask for their support as it moves through the House and Senate, so that we can look at some additional funding. We've been capped for so long, and now every school district in the state of Ohio is frozen at fiscal year 19 levels. So we all know right now the budget is in the beginning stages. So what the governor has proposed is going to change as it moves through the House and Senate. So we hope that it will be a positive change for school districts. I know we all need it. So, and thank you to my staff for doing such a great job on the audit once again, and everyone else that helps us get there by following the rules. I know sometimes we're a little bit of a stickler, but this is the results of that. So I want to say thank you to my staff once again and everyone else, and a ditto on everything as far as the donations and everyone's hard work. That's all I have.
Tina, if I may just add one thing to what you said, I did contact our state senator, Niraj Antani, and our Congressman Tom Young, and they are very supportive of education. I'd just like to thank them for that too since I had the chance here.
Let's hope they're supportive of a change in the funding.
Let's hope. Steve?
So did everything that I want to said. Just a couple reminders. Mrs. Neese, you talked about the vaccinations. So as a reminder, our staff will have their round 2 this next week, March 4th, 5th, and 6th. And as a reminder, March 5th is a calamity day for our students that day. And I do want to thank publicly Rite Aid. We've been working with Rite Aid the last several years. And many of you know Jamie Schaefer here in Miamisburg. She has done wondrous work with us, and Adam Guzik from Rite Aid. They have really been leaders in the area in terms of getting the vaccines out. They arranged with us to have, I think we did over almost 650 at the high school back in February, and we'll do that same amount coming up this week here. So just as a reminder, March 5th. They also worked very well with us. We had some quarantines out there that were not able to do it the first round, and they worked with us to be able to get them vaccinated tomorrow for their first round too. So big kudos to them. And then also this week, Rite Aid reached out to us. They, on a shipment, received 200 extra Pfizer vaccinations. I put an email out late this afternoon, and I just checked here, and they are all filled for Sunday. All 200 are spoken for. So, so once again, Rite Aid is really working well with our communities and to really help those out there. So I want to thank them. And also, I also want to thank Heather Wright and Nicole Calvert and Brenda Hibbert as well. It's taken a team to get, at this point now, almost 850 to 900 vaccinations done. So that'll be Sunday at the middle school from, let's see, we'll be there from about 12 to 7. So if you have nothing better to do and you'd like to come help orchestrate, you're more than welcome to do that. But I did want to publicly thank Rite Aid. They've been a very strong supporter of us and the schools and to help us get back in school. So thank you to them very much.
Thank you, Mr. Holman. Well, thank you for our in-person audience participants, Mr. Gilbert and Mr. Saylor. That's awesome, Jeremy. Thank you guys for coming. So exciting, right, to have a live audience. First time for me. Yes.
Don't get used to it.
No,
We're gonna
we'll
have
pack
more
this-
next month, right?
We'll pack this place next month.
So, thank you all, the board, for all the hard work that you do. I mean, we've had a great kickoff to second semester. The in-person learning that is taking place is wonderful to see. I was at the preschool today and I got a hug. It was a safe hug, I promise, but it was so fun to see them back in action and just learning, and it's just a wonderful sight. So, great day at Miamisburg. Every day is a great, I feel like, at Miamisburg City Schools. But next month, we're going to be busy. We've got vaccines kicking off the month. We're going to start our strategic planning. We have a kickoff scheduled for March 24th. And we'll be having the board, members of the cabinet, also the district leadership council, as we kind of revisit where our strategic planning was up until the end of 2020 and what it's going to look like moving forward. With that, we're also planning, as part of the governor's request, a recovery learning plan that he has asked us to complete by April 1st. So we have a district task force meeting scheduled for March the 11th, where we already have a template, so we'll all be kind of filling in and sharing that with members of the district task force and, of course, our building principals to get some ideas. They would like the plan to extend out to the 22-23 school year. So anything we're doing now, any ideas we have for the summer, obviously for the 21-22 school year, and then again for the 22-23 school year to address learning gaps and just kind of get a better flow for getting those achievement gaps addressed and just some innovative learning. So we're looking forward to working on that as we move into March. So, but just thank everyone for being here this evening and for what everyone does. So.
All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
You want to stay? You want to stay? Yeah. I'll second.
Do you want to stick around? You can.
I don't know where to go.
So first by Angel and a second by Lewis. And
Mrs. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Toadvine?
Yes.
Mrs. Neese?
yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
7:28.